Well, it's Tuesday, baby, and I've got a juicy bit of tea. Now, you just ignore what's on my face today. I got some running around I got to do, some adulting, baby, and I woke up this morning with bags underneath my eyes, big enough to pack and go on vacation. Yes, I did, and I'm trying to get them to go down because I got to go take a photo today for an ID, honey. Yes, y'all know I'm going on a trip to see my auntie in California in September. And I wanted to drive. I wanted it to be a road trip, but my life partner can't take off of work for 2 weeks or we'll lose everything we have. So I'm just going to have to get on a plane and fly there by myself to see my auntie. Anyway, I got to go get this fancy little ID that allows me to fly. And I woke up with bags under my eyes. So I'm trying to get those to go down so I can put my makeup on and go get my damn ID. But I want to bring you the tea. So get this, baby. Get this. First off, I just want to start this video by saying everything Daddy did yesterday was to distract from the fact that he is all over that shit, honey. He's all over that shit, but it's also about something else. I know you heard all the dog whistles yesterday. I know you heard roving gangs of youths, baby. Take it from me, as unmelanated as I be. When you hear a wrinkly old-ass white person, whether it be a man or woman, say that there's a roving gangs of youths around, honey, that's a dog whistle, baby. That's a dog whistle. They mean young melanated people. Is what they mean. But then he got up on TV and he said he's going to try to do this in other cities, and every city that he named had one thing in common, baby. That's right. It wasn't crime, you see. The thing that they all had in common was their mayors are black. Imagine that. But why all of a sudden with so many dog whistles in just 1 week? Well, if you'll sit with me, I'll explain everything and pour you some tea, because I noticed something strange on Sunday. I noticed something very strange on Sunday over there on the streets of Twitter and in the cesspool that is Telegram. Now, I'm not on Telegram. If somebody messages you and tells you to go to Telegram, that's not me. It's a fucking cesspool of humanity. However, when I am doing a bit of research, particularly on a certain group of individuals, we could call them the Proud Bottom Boys or the Patriot Backs, those kind of groups. Well, they have little chat rooms where they discuss things with each other over there on Telegram. And on Sunday, there was an uptick in a trend of them backing away from the Orange Man. Now, I say an uptick because it has been trending that they have been backing away from the Orange Man for about 3 months now. Yes, a little bit before June. They started backing away from the Orange Buffoon right before June because the Orange Buffoon was getting a little too close with Dudu Netanyahu. That's right, and they couldn't wrap their head around that. They were okay to excuse some of that when the money was flowing their way. But some of the money that was flowing their way has stopped flowing their way. And then the whole files thing, that kind of threw them for a loop too. And they were over there on the Telegram streets talking about he's a CPO baby. Yes, and they didn't know if they could back Daddy. Hell, one of the groups even gathered together to put on a show in a city where they had banners and flyers along with their fucking flags, baby, that said that Daddy was a C3PO. Yes, honey, a PDF, baby. So this is what you got going on, and it's been escalating. It's been escalating for months now. The faction of fools that support Daddy because they think he's a cool dude and they enjoy his dog whistles were starting to back away from him. Now, let's put the whole thing together, because let me drop this little bit of tea for you real quick. Starting on Sunday, the narrative around Alonia Muskrat started to change. That's right. Starting on Sunday, we had people like J.D. Vance in his taller pants with square stance in an interview saying that he hopes that Alonia Muskrat would come back into the fold, saying it's time for Alonia to join MAGA again. Curious, friend, because wasn't it just a few months ago that he was unfit, unhealthy, unhinged on substances, and they didn't understand what was going on with him? Now all of a sudden you've got them asking for him to come back into the fold. And it wasn't just J.D. Vance that was hinting to the fact that he wanted Alonia Muskrat back into the fold. No, because over there on the streets of Twitter, some of the mouthpieces for the far-right movement and some of the mouthpieces that are just for Daddy that don't consider themselves far-right all started chanting the same thing. They were even sending messages and tagging Alonia Muskrat, asking him to come back into the fold to make up with the orange dude. Considering the fact that we now have really large creators and celebrities coming out to back ETA and Smart over that data, Yes, baby. More people are looking at the data going, wait a minute. That football game in November, this does not add up. Yes, and they don't want that on the big time news. Now, when you add in that is happening across the US of A, and then you add in the fact, y'all remember just 2 weeks ago, they were all about the census? Every red hat on the streets of Twatter was demanding a new census. Even J.D. Vance, they were all, every little misfit toy up there on Capitol Hill was census, 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 new census. And then somebody told them, hey, even if we decided to issue a new census today, the way that Daddy Dumpy Pants wants to issue a census, even the love child of Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair, Marjorie Taylor Greene, introduced a bill up there on Capitol Hill to have a new census done. But somebody told them, hey, even if we issued a new census today, by the time we got all the data and compiled everything, we still wouldn't have time to redraw district lines by the midterms in 2026. So they slowly backed away from that particular play and are saving it for a future day. And the gerrymandering isn't going their way, even though the rolling trick down there in Texas, Greg Abbott, tried to issue the arrest warrants. It turns out, you see, he has no standing to stand on here, which he can't stand anyway. But there's no ground underneath him, because it just so happens that the Democrats have done this before. And in Texas, 20 years ago, the Republicans tried to gerrymander Texas. And what did the Texas Democrats do? They packed a bag and they went to Oklahoma and they stayed a week or two. That's right. So the rolling trick can't do nothing about this, and they don't have time to draw new district lines, and they know that they are not going to win in 2026. So now they're asking who? Alonia Muskrat to come back into the fold. Imagine that. I wonder what for. And then all the dog whistles, baby. He got up there on TV, the Orange Man, yesterday, and he said, well, the dog whistle of roving gangs of Utes. But then he pointed out a few cities. And the only thing these cities have in common, and it's not fucking crime, dear, it's the fact that they have a black mayor. You see, Daddy needs his far-right faction of fools if he is to do what he wants to do. Because it just so happens, if you look into prior contest days, every time there was a call into a threat called in, or some type of disruption, friend, from them even burning ballot boxes and all of that, every single fucking time it went back to a far right faction. Yes, and just so you know, I'm going to drop this here in this video. There has been two types of crime that have been on the rise. You want to know what they are? Firstly, since January of this year, there has been a high spike in domestic violence. Men beating on their ladies. Imagine that, friend. But there has been a steady and constant escalation in a particular type of crime in this nation that started in 2017. And that's when it started to escalate, when the orange guy was up there the first time. And then after 2021, we've seen it drop a little bit, but the escalation is up again, and the escalation started again last year in the summer, friend. And you want to know what crime this is? The crime of people breaking into the National Guard armory to steal military-grade equipment, whether it be night vision goggles, canteens, vests, all of it, dear. Everything they can get their hands on. There's been a rise in that crime. And guess what? They've decided it's inside jobs. That's right, it's inside jobs. The only way this could be going down, they're able to get onto these bases, into these armories, get in there, get what they need, and get the hell out so quickly. It's an inside job, because there wasn't anything broken, there wasn't anything cut. They actually had pass keys to get on base. And it turns out, after investigating this, it all goes back to, that's right, those same far-right fools. That type of crime has been on the rise underneath the guise of the orange guy, and Petey Kegseth too, but we already know about his tattoos, and he's part of that faction as well. But they've been letting military-grade equipment out of the bases and into the hands of those who like to cover their fucking faces with underwear. So there has been a rise in a certain type of crime. But it's all dog whistles, you see, in order to make them fucking happy, because they've been out in the streets with signs that say, Daddy Dumpy Pants is a PDF. Yes, baby. And now they're asking for Alonia Muskrat to come back into the fold? Well, I think you can see what kind of picture I'm drawing here for you, dear. They are scared as hell. They are scared as hell. They do not have the votes, just like they didn't have the votes back in November. And no matter how much they try to gerrymander and rig the situation, they don't have time in this nation to pull it off the way they want to. So they're just going to take over blue cities, boo. Okay. Now I got to get to getting ready for the day. Love y'all. Hope you enjoyed.